Where did it go? There.
Hey guys, this is Jay Lethal, the Blunt Machismo, and whoa, the Nature Boy, and you're listening to the Potsy and Tino Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tino just stole my M&Ms. The Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Potsy and Tino Show. That's right. He's Tino, I'm Potsy, and we like to talk about us and pro wrestling. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's Housecast, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. And tonight, at some point, we are going to have some special guests on. We're going to have Sean Cruz, who was in last week's Battle Royal, as well as Preston Quinn from AWL on the show. But we're going to get to that after we talk about us. And when we talk about what's up with you. So we already have Joe Lowe and Michael Turner in the audience. Hello, guys. We've got unfiltered Sean Cruz in the waiting room. He can probably hear me saying all that. We're going to let him sit there for just a moment. Hopefully he gets hydrated because, he's been working out.
Get high.
No, he's getting hydrated.
Oh.
Hydrated. No, that gets you fired or suspended, and we'll talk about that later with a different wrestler, not Sean Cruz, because shut up. Would you talk about what's going on with you, Tino?
So I had a good week. Let's see what I do this week.
Nothing. Tell you what you didn't do. You didn't come to my birthday party.
Okay, because birthday's next Thursday, and we'll be here doing the show.
But my party...
And I told him, he just don't want to listen.
We're getting drunk at my birthday party next week.
Where?
Here. I don't have to go anywhere Friday.
I do, bitch. I got to drive from here.
You're crashing here that night. I got a futon upstairs. What's up, Chris Barrett? Chris Barrett, do not sit there and put hashtag free Mandy Rose up there.
I gotta pack my CPAP.
That's fine.
Anyway. So
what's going on with you?
Dude, let's see. This weekend's the party. Oh, so when I clocked out today at 4:00, I don't go back to that bitch till next year.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had just I had time build up because now that I'm working from home, there's no need in calling out if you're sick because you're home. So and all that.
So you just go into work and you just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, just do it. But in doing that, I had time I didn't use, so I had to. Use it or lose it because they don't pay you for it.
My job actually pays some of it out, or they don't pay it out. They let you carry it over.
I can only carry 40 hours over, but dude, I had way more than 40 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I said, I had enough I took last Friday and I took tomorrow off, and then next 2 weeks. Well, we're closed a week after. So the 26th to the 30th is closed anyway. So I was like, well, screw it. I just took next week and I did a bunch of Fridays to try to get it in. So today was the last day until January 2nd.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then get the party this weekend.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of.
Tell everybody. Tell everybody.
The thing is, though, so every year we have my wife and I have our annual Christmas party. So we have friends and neighbors come over, and we just
everybody annual Christmas party.
So everybody bring it. The deal is you bring an appetizer or hors d'oeuvre. And then everybody brings something. And then you drink. Yeah.
We're going to bring a bottle.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
okay.
And then we drink. And if party starts at 7, I usually start drinking at 5 while we're setting up.
Playing Madden against his, you can't call him son-in-law, but against Haley's boyfriend.
Yeah, I'll probably be doing that this year.
No, because you got your ass whooped last year.
Nah.
Oh, you got your ass whooped last year.
He cheated. But so
I whooped his ass last year.
You cheated too.
I did not.
So, but my father-in-law is flying in from Buffalo, and his flight doesn't get in until like 8 or 9 or something. So I cannot drink
because you got to go pick him up.
So I get to watch everybody else drink. And I go pick him up, drop him off, and come back. Then I'll drink. But it's no big deal. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have a good time. And then,
but you also played this past Saturday. How'd that go?
Oh, Hickory, yeah. Played Hickory. I had to think back. That was awesome. That was real awesome. We had a good time. So I left. So I packed up my shit and I was gone. And so the dude that I played with, I think he stayed behind because he was talking to a girl. He said, "Thank God you left when you did." I'm like, "Why?" He said, "Because a fight broke out in the parking lot, and then these two drunk guys they were fighting over." So there's these two guys were talking to this one drunk girl. Then she started talking to this other dude. So the two guys got pissed off. The two guys got pissed off. They thought they were going to jump on the one dude, but what they didn't realize is like he was ex-special force or something in the military, and he proceeded to whoop both their asses.
Probably an Army Ranger or some shit, yeah.
But what happens these days when these young punks get their ass beat? What do? They
start talking shit?
No, he went to the car and got a gun.
Oh, Jesus.
So, and then,
where you were playing?
Yeah, outside. It was after hours. I was already gone.
Oh, thank God.
But apparently, when dude pulled the gun,
the special forces
whipped his ass and took the gun from it.
Like a fucking movie. Like, and then drop the clip out, and then probably was like,
I just said he said he whooped his ass. Dude was on the ground, and the dude was holding his gun.
And let this be a lesson to you. Like I said, we do have a couple guests in the waiting room. We'll bring them on in just a moment. I do want to talk a little bit about what went on with me this week, because it is What's Up With You.
Right.
So Monday night had my birthday party. Took an Uber out to the Raleigh Beer Garden.
How expensive was that?
Well, if I went with Uber, it was really fucking expensive. I went with Lyft. Lyft was But like when it's your birthday, everybody else buys you drinks. So it's like I can pay the $35 to get out there.
And how'd you get back?
Somebody decided they want to take me home who hadn't been drinking. I was like, okay.
Cool.
So a nice friend of mine actually brought me home and then said, "Get the fuck out my car, go in your house and go to bed." And I was like, okay. Because they had really good bourbon at Raleigh Beer Garden that night, and suddenly there was like 3 of them in front of me.
Nice.
Multiple times, and it was like, what do I do now? Oh, I'll drink this one first. But I also had like Japanese whiskey that night.
You didn't throw up?
No, I didn't. And towards the end of the night, I just started drinking heavy beer, and heavy beer is heavy in carbs, just like food is. So guess what? I didn't feel like I needed to throw up because my stomach was full.
All right, cool.
So I was all right. But I started talking to my buddy Cliff, who just put his memoir out. It's right there, Control Freak. Started talking to him a little bit, and I was like, I came up with this idea. And I came up with this idea when I was watching the movie Violent Night, which has David Harbour in it, the guy from Stranger Things, playing Santa Claus. I can't go into what the story is about yet. I'm just going to say that right now it's called HBH. We'll be okay with that. It's probably going to be a 64-page graphic novel, maybe 3 issues if we do it in separate comics or whatever. But the cool thing about it is it's like John Wick meets a Holiday meets a character that you don't expect to meet. Okay. And all I can say is that, like, to make it into a movie, it's going to be really fucking weird, but it's going to be really fucking awesome. Because I can't tell if the main character is going to be CGI, if he's going to be like someone dressed up as the character. If
I had to be animated.
I animated it in CGI, right? So almost like a new age Roger Rabbit kind of thing. But either way, like I've written almost what would be the equivalent of 1 full comic on it in 2 days.
Nice.
Because as soon as the name hit me, everything else started falling in place. And I think what's been failing me recently, Tino, and we're getting ready to hop to our guests. But what's been hop to our guests? I think I might have just said something there. But what's been failing me recently is every time I come up with an idea, I want to draw everything. I want to start drawing the characters. I want to start designing. And this time I went back to the way that like junior high horror started, where yeah, I did some character designs and stuff, but I was like, I'm going to write the first whole book. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get the whole book out and we're going to go. And this time, like, I just want to write the whole story. I want to write it from beginning to end and then go, okay, now what do the characters look like?
Okay.
Now what does this look like? Now what? And it's the first time in months I've written anything since a story that I talked to you guys about last week, where I even talked to Sean about it, and Sean's getting ready to come on, where it's got a wrestler as the main character. This story does not have a wrestler as a main character, but you know, like the whole idea of I wrote the first issue of that story. Sean's going to come on. He's bringing on a gentleman by the name of Preston Quinn.
Okay.
And we're going to talk to them a little bit about what they got going on this weekend.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to bring them on. And I'm going to see if I can get this to look a little bit better. There we go. There we go. All four of us on. So, Sean, because Tino and I weren't at your event last weekend.
Dude, how'd you do?
Well, hold on.
You mean this?
Yes.
I take all the blame for why you did not win that battle royal.
Why?
If I was standing outside the ring, I would have caught you, thrown you back into the ring, especially if he was with me, and made sure that we pulled the Kofi Kingston and got you back in there so that you would win the whole thing.
Well, yeah, it is what it is, man. It took two guys, though. The Divine Dynasty, it took both of them to team up on me and get me out. So whatever. I'll get revenge. I'm not worried about those guys.
Now, Sean, you were on last week, so I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to go to your partner in crime
Yeah,
here.
no problem, man. Sure.
Preston, you're part of the AWL. Am I getting that right?
AML.
AML. I'm sorry. So tell us a little bit about that and what you got going on this weekend.
Well, AML is based out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They're the folks that bring you WrestleCade every year on Thanksgiving. So they just sold out. Their last show was 4,000 people sell out at WrestleCade. Myself and my tag team partner, CW Anderson, are known as the Extreme Horsemen. We're the World Tag Team Champions. We had the privilege of teaming with Brock Anderson with Arn Anderson in our corner. And this is the second time that we've gotten what, as we refer to as the Anderson family together, because I was Anderson trained, and of course my partner is an Anderson. And we went against Austin Aries, EC3, and Fodder. And it was WrestleCade every year is just phenomenal. It's Christmas for us wrestlers. We get to see guys we know, we only get to see once a year sometimes. And for some reason, we're like, me and CW are always tight with Jack Victory. And so like every Friday is Extreme Horseman Jack Victory hangout day when we go to WrestleCade.
Well, I'll tell you guys right now, that's in our backyard. I mean, we're based out of Raleigh and Durham. So last year I did get to go to WrestleCade. This year I did not, but we definitely want to be there. And I've been talking about tabling my new wrestling comic at the show. And Sean can tell you more about that off air because he could probably sell you on it better than I can. But I want wrestlers involved with my wrestling comic.
Well, I'm a big comic book guy. So
yeah, he's got his own store as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'll definitely be interested in hearing about it.
Oh, nice. Well, we will definitely have conversations off air. But so this weekend in Winston-Salem, you guys have like a seminar going on, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Basically, myself and CW Anderson are putting together a seminar of already talented guys that are coming in. Basically, the way that we've worded it is it's not just a seminar, it's actually a talent search. We've personally invited the majority of these people for a reason. Every one of these guys have a V8 under the hood. We either going to add a supercharger or throw some polish on the car. but one way or the other, you're going to be ready, and you're going to be ready far more. You're far more likely to be ready once you come out of there than when
So
you
who's
came
going to
in.
be the next Action Andretti is what you're saying.
We just specialize in small things that regular people don't see until the package is put together. And once the package is put together, fans don't realize, but they look at it and go, wow, that guy was really good. But they don't know why their mind felt that way.
Sure.
It's a lot of the psychology, a lot of the small things, taking steps out that don't necessarily need to be there. I know my partner's wrestled 30 years and I've wrestled 28. And, we've just, and to this day, we still study stuff like crazy. I mean, older stuff, because I don't feel like there's a lot of the newer stuff we can learn from. And I'll go back all the way into black and white Luthez stuff and take from that. I mean, just stuff that looks shoot style, and we'll throw that in where it needs to be put in, where it makes sense. And we really want to focus on getting these guys that all of these guys can perform the moves. Okay. In wrestling, the moves are the easiest thing in the world. The hard part is making sense out of when those moves happen and how you transition from one to another, and not having to do so many spots, because by the end of your career, you're going to wish you hadn't. You're going to wish you had went in there and worked a lot smarter.
Card. Yep, that's what we call it, the bump card.
Yeah.
And it's real. The bump card's real. So that's the gist of that. And that's pretty much what we're looking at trying to do. And we're also looking for people that may work together well as tag teams, because the independents right now are suffering for real tag teams.
Really?
We sure love to do that pot.
Now, a question about that, Preston. Do you think that's because of the WWE's lack of wanting to push two guys as a tag team and putting just two random guys together?
100%. There's nobody that can inspire the people other than WWE and AEW, right? AEW's got tag teams, but there's still an element of booking missing there that really makes the tag team stand out. Okay. Everybody still talks about Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega and MJF. And even though you guys on your roster, guys like FTR, where are they at? Right. They're not getting they're not getting the due that they are owed. If I'm booking that, FTR, that's my Anderson and Blanchard. Where are the foes that they can go in there and run these great grudge matches with, the back and forth tags with amazing four men all on the same page, and the flow of that? I'm not talking about spot. I'm talking about the emotional flow of a true tag team match. Yep. And FTR is capable of that, but a lot of the other teams, I'm not so sure they even know what that is. And that's something we really push. And I agree with you 100%. It is because the WWE and AEW do not take the time to tell people that tag teams are very much as important as the singles guys. Because it's all about individual glory these days, and that's not what tag teams are.
And you probably know this, but I mean, the story has always been that the WWE realizes that tag teams require paying 4 guys, whereas a singles match pays 2 guys. And I get it, I understand, and I would anticipate that tag teams are discounted already, unfortunately. That their downside guarantee is probably 75% of what a singles guy is, because they're going to be wrestling with somebody else. But you're absolutely right. I mean, that's how you fill the card. That's how you fill the storytelling. And more than anything else, I mean, we've all seen those matches where you have the hot tag, and 2 singles guys trying to give you the hot tag.
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes you get guys that understand it, like The Rock, Mick Foley, Stone Cold. Those guys, when they gave you the hot tag, I mean, they were students of the game. They really understood sides of everything. Owen Hart.
It still ain't Ricky and Robert, brother. You know what I'm saying?
No, it ain't.
Well, that's why I brought up
Ricky
Owen
and Robert.
I think Owen Hart, Jim the Anvil, those guys from the Hart Foundation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they were bred as tag team wrestlers.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he brought up a good point, man. You can't beat Midnight and Rock and Roll, man. Though
Nope.
that is storytelling. Not only storytelling, most importantly, it's the psychology of tag
Yep.
team. They're pulling the fans in if you know how to do it. I
Yep.
don't think nowadays the AEW or WWE have that psychology of tag team down.
now there are certain guys that do. FTR, I think you already mentioned them.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's
I mean,
just about it.
well,
Honestly, I mean, as far as psychology and tag team and really doing tag team moves together, you're absolutely right. Because
Yep.
most of the time, you just get two singles guys and they want to go in there and get their shit in, their
Yep.
single shit. You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
yeah. No, you guys are absolutely right. And the firm art of tag team wrestling. I love the fact that you said that your seminar is really going to focus on some of that. The idea that they're going to understand. I think the reason why Shawn Michaels made such a good storyteller as a singles wrestler is because he was a tag team wrestler for so long in his career. Was the
Sure.
fact that he understood that now I can't make that hot tag. So how do I draw that out to actually get more energy from the crowd?
Yep.
Because I've got to make the comeback myself rather than have that moment. I think you guys are absolutely correct.
I think if you had, and it's not nowadays, but if you have a single competitor who has that psychology down, he can carry another person in the tag team. Like my all-time favorite, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes had the psychology as a single, but if you paired him with Dirty Dick Murdoch or you paired him with Ivan Koloff, whoever you paired him with, it still looked like a formidable tag team because he still had the psychology down.
Yeah.
And let's not forget my favorite tag team of all time, the Road Warriors. I mean, like, you actually believe
no
that
sellers
had a
Yes.
chance of becoming Intercontinental Champion in a singles match, but you knew that when he was in a tag team match, he was taking home the gold.
Well, here's the thing that people forget. Heels, a good heel tag team, you're not even going to realize it until I tell you this and you go watch. Look at how little the heels actually do spot wise to the people that they're working, because the heel's job in a tag is to do everything they can to keep that baby face from tagging his partner.
Yeah.
And if you're driving him into the mat and you're hitting these big double team moves and doing all that, there's no chance he's going to tag his guy. So you always make sure that you have that baby face in a position that he could possibly make that tag. And the fans will never sit on their hands, because they know at any moment he could make that tag. And when he does, you guys are in trouble, because you've shown the whole match you're scared if he makes that tag. That's the last thing you want to happen. That's why it becomes a hot tag.
You got to keep the ring cut off.
Yep.
We have to.
The most important thing is not letting him tag that fireball that's gassed up on the outside of the ring, that has seen you beating on his partner and pulling him away, and you've gotten a little bit in his face and got him going. And when he does get that tag, you best make sure he's going to whoop both guys' asses in there, and that crowd's going to be loving it.
Yeah, and Tino just mentioned the Usos, who probably are one of the other tag teams that actually does do that.
That heel tag team, the Uso brothers.
Yep.
But I will say that they've almost, with them, yes, the two of them by themselves, when it was like them versus like the New Day or them versus the Wyatt family back in the day, like, you're absolutely right. But now it seems to be, it's okay, those heels are still going to wrestle a match. They're trying to get the pop rather than get the heat. And it isn't them. It's the outside interference that's getting the heat. It's not them.
Yes.
I mean, they want the literal pop. Like, they do the big, shots and the kicks and the enziguris, and a heel shouldn't do stuff like that.
No, you should never want somebody to say he's really good at doing that move, because that means they're going to cheer when you do that move.
Yeah, Adam Cole does the Canadian Destroyer or whatever, and gets a pop off of it. Why? Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, why would a heel do that? Why do you want to pop?
He needs to have them counter it.
Yes.
He goes for it, and it always backfires if he's the heel.
Yeah,
period.
Ric Flair going up to the top rope for absolutely no
Thank
reason
you.
whatsoever.
No reason whatsoever.
Yep.
He's never landed it in his life. You knew it was going to happen every time.
I think they finally did let him land it, but he'd only land it in matches that he lost.
Yeah.
I know as a baby face, he'd land it with like he did the crossbody on Harley Race and won the belt.
Yeah.
You know, or he'd just come off when he would hit. He'd come off and do like the fist to the top of the head.
Yeah.
The single axe handle.
Exactly. So Preston, go ahead and tell us more about everything that's happening Saturday. Like, when's it start? Where's it at? Like give us the skinny.
It's Winston-Salem. It's on. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's Cherry Street. It's the AML Training Center, and Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We're going to be starting at 10 o'clock, and we're going to go 5 straight hours, 10 to 3, to make sure everybody can get out and head to their shows in the area. Again, it's not going to be blow up drills. It's not anything like that. The people that we have there, we already know can work. Yes.
Look at Sean sitting there like, thank God, I'm tired.
I do enough of those 2 times a week at RWC.
Right.
So, yeah.
And if you don't have the stamina that you need, we're going to see that. You know, we don't need a blow up drill to see that, oh, that guy right there doesn't have the stamina he needs. We're going to see in the tag match when your tongue is hanging out and we need you to fire and you don't have the fire. And I'll be like, boy, you better get on the step machine, something. But
brother, body squats, Hindu.
yes, but this is about the stuff that, like I said, it's the nuts and bolts stuff inside that really this is going to focus on. It's not all tag. We're going to focus heavy on promos and character work, putting asses in seats. Because with me starting up the Mid-Atlantic Territory wrestling up here in Virginia, through the Virginias and the Carolinas, I need guys where I can look at them and say, I need a 30-second promo for Nashville, North Carolina on the April 8th, and here's your opponent. And they go up there and they sell damn tickets.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Tino and I used to have a segment on here called Rob's Rant of the Week. So if you want someone that can cut a promo, I can't wrestle. We're the damn. And I've already said I'm not taking any shots to the moneymaker. But
oh goodness.
But I could totally be a heel manager. No, we could talk about that when we start talking about putting you guys in my comic book too. How about that? But
there you go.
Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo.
But it sounds like what you're doing is trying to prepare people that have kind of watched the AEW style of wrestling, which seems to be really popular right now, and reminding them of what is good storytelling and what will actually drive the business forward and what has always driven the business forward. Like, the business is cyclical. We know that. We know that it goes through times where having the blood and the guts and everything else has its moment. But then we also realize that it always comes back to the same 5 or 6 stories of this good guy made fun of that bad guy made fun of this good guy's mama, and because of that, guy's going to try to beat the hell out of that guy for the title.
So it's like I said last week, Potsy, not everybody loves wrestling, but everybody loves a good story.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's it. That's how you get people pulled in, and that's how you get them to keep coming back.
No matter what they tell you, just like what he said, human psychology hasn't changed in centuries, period. They can talk about, everybody's attention is only seconds long now because of social media and all that. Bullshit. Game of Thrones got high ratings for a reason. Yellowstone gets high ratings for a reason. You mean to tell me they can't watch but 6 seconds of Yellowstone? No. If you give them something to come back and watch, you give them a reason, human psychology, they want to see it.
Yeah, that's a hell of a good point. Yeah, that's a hell of a good
Well, PQ, I'm sure you agree with me on this too. Like, I think the simple things that people can connect to. So, like, most people have been in fights, right? You've been in a bar fight, whatever. You know what it feels like to get punched in the face.
Yep.
You don't know what it feels like to take a Canadian pile driver.
That's
whatever.
right. That's right.
What I'm saying?
Yep, that's right.
So that's the kind of stuff I think we need to do more of, is the more realistic stuff that people can really connect to and be like, oh, he hit him in the stomach and he dropped him to his knees. I felt that before, you know?
Yep. I can't like that comment enough.
I mean, it all goes back to the fact that, like, you look at a Young Bucks match and
do we have to?
we talked a lot of shit about the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega the other week because we really don't think that they're acting professionally. But that's got nothing to do with what I'm about to say. What I'm about to say is when you watch a Young Bucks match, Jim Ross, who is a commentator for a lot of those matches, sits there and flat out says, "You didn't give me time to breathe. You didn't get me time to actually like
Let it breathe, brother.
what you're doing. So how am I supposed to be emotionally invested in what you're doing in that moment?" And knock on them in this situation, like there is a place for that. I mean, Will Ospreay has made a career out of that. Ricochet has made a career out of that. You know, like those two guys when they go together, it is the most choreographed. Like it is a beautiful imagining of synchronized swimming, right?
Yeah.
And
It's gymnast work.
yeah, and you know,
it is. Don't get me wrong. It is entertaining.
Yep.
But is it wrestling?
No.
Is it psychology? No. It's who's tougher. Who's tougher? How many spots can we kick out of? Big moves can we kick out of before we finish with, I don't know, a schoolboy or a roll up or something stupid?
And what happened to protecting a finishing move?
Thank you. Thank
Like,
you.
Your finisher's your finisher. Stop kicking out. Protect your own moves, people.
how many times have I said that?
Yes.
Like,
God.
thank you, Preston. I sit there and discuss how in AEW, like you go through 5 or 6 finishers, and the unfortunate thing is if you really pay attention to it, it seems to only be 3 or 4 guys that can kick out of those 3 or 4 finishers.
Yeah.
But if they hit you with one of their finishers,
It's over.
the
You're
match
done.
is over.
Yeah.
And you know, like
They just happen to have VP attached to their name, but we'll go.
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
So if your finisher is a cutter and the guy hits the cutter, roll out of the ring.
Yeah, get him by the rope, something. Let him get the rope, you know, or don't hit it. Don't hit it. Find something else. Go for it. And he can't quite get it. He slips off. You know, it just,
or you don't hit it just right.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to kick out of it, like, oh, he went for the code breaker and it looked like he only caught the shoulder and not the face. Okay, cool. I'm down with that.
Okay, so what if you worked his leg the whole match and he hits the code breaker, but when he hits it, his knee's already damaged, so now he can't pin you right away.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That little stuff.
So he hits it almost straight legged instead of with the bent knees. Yeah, absolutely. You guys are absolutely right.
And then if you have good play-by-play announcers, they'll say, that's exactly why he worked on it. He's done his homework. He knew that was going to, he wouldn't be able to hit the move correctly.
I will say that that's one of the things that AEW does typically try to do is protect it with the commentary.
Yeah.
Now, Tony Schiavone doesn't because he's sitting there going, that's the damnedest thing I've ever seen.
No, JR does, though. He does his best.
Yeah, JR still as professional as can be. I tell you. I love JR.
Absolutely right. And you know, that was one of the downsides of having like a Jimmy Smith on Raw is that he couldn't protect it because he didn't know.
Yep.
You know, but like now, you know, like Michael Cole, like he's caught so much shit over the years for how he is as a commentator. But I'll tell you what, like he is literally one of the best that's ever done it. And you know, with Gordon Soley, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone ahead of him, like you never hear people talking about how good Michael Cole actually is. But now that he's actually getting to be able to talk about like the history of the wrestler and what's going on and what the move actually is capable of, like the things that he's able to discuss in that.
He's kind of like today's version of Mike Tenay. He's turning into
professor. Yeah, a little professor action. I get that.
And I'm perfectly okay with that because when you've got Wade Barrett as your color guy who's sitting there saying, well, that's not really supposed to do that kind of damage, you know.
I'd like to have McAfee back because even though he's not a wrestler, McAfee just did. He had so much enthusiasm.
He's a fan. He loves the sport. You know what I mean? And you can tell.
He's a fan first, which makes it even better. But McAfee will be back after college football season's over.
Sure, yeah, of course.
I don't know if he'll be on SmackDown or where he'll. I would assume he'll be back on SmackDown. But gentlemen, is anybody going to be there that people might want to know about besides obviously Sean Cruz or Preston yourself? Sean Cruz, my favorite independent wrestler right now. I mean, I you know, as soon as he gets me one of the T-shirts, I'll be wearing it every week on the show.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm really, everybody that I know is confirmed of going, I'm really high on, as far as they are right on the cusp of being the guys that you're going to see everywhere. And you know, be it Sean, Victor Andrews, I've got the Tar Dynasty coming, who they're out of the Eastern Shore. They've been tag champs up my way for quite a bit, and they're students of the game. And I'm terrible because I've been dropped on my head a million times in my career. So trying to remember stuff like, oh shit, trying to remember stuff like right on the fly like that. I've got the Real Life Freaks, the tag team from Virginia that's really been studying stuff that I've been teaching. Gosh, we've got so many guys that are coming. The Fighters Club's going to be there. There's Chris TNT Taylor, Greg G Money Johnson, Jem Stone, Playboy Alex Bryant. I mean, and every one of these guys, and forgive me if I haven't named some people that we personally invited, because there's a reason why we sent you messages. But every one of these guys, I could put any of them in the ring with each other and on any indie card, and it will be one of the better matches on the show. People just need to know who they are.
Now, last question I have for you, Preston, is there anybody that is currently on like the AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA, or even WWE rosters in NXT, or all the way on the main roster, that you want us to keep an eye on because they may have worked with you in the past that you are just high on?
I've always been a fan of John Schuyler. He just got signed back with Impact. So Schuyler, Colby Carino, gosh, I haven't worked in the ring with them yet, but those kids, the Acclaimed, came and worked for AML, and they were just the most professional, easygoing, just super nice guy. Yep, the scissors, baby. They found something, right? They are the first homegrown talent that AEW has. I would push those guys to the moon. They are our talent, right? So the Acclaimed, I think I'd be really high on them. I've always liked FTR. Gosh, and you know, truth be told, I don't watch a lot of modern wrestling because it's difficult to watch.
Because you like the classic.
Well, gosh, all I watch is territory stuff and obscure things that I feel like I can pull something from. But I'm trying to think of some more, you know, up tops, or, you know, I would assume that Regal's kid is going to be, he should be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he should end up doing pretty good.
I like David Finlay, same thing. You know,
oh, yeah, of course, you know, and it's funny because everybody's like, well, yeah, because of who their dad is. No, because I wrestled David Flair, and that was one of the worst freaking opponents I ever had in my life. I actually told him, can you do some of your dad's spots, like this one and da-da-da? He was like, I'm not so sure I know what you're talking about. I'm like,
wow.
Well, let's be real. He didn't even go to the power plant. He literally was thrown on TV and said, hey, you're going to get a hot valet and Tori Wilson, and now you're just going to be a wrestler. And he was like, what
okay.
the fuck?
I think a lot of people don't, just because your dad is a wrestler doesn't mean you're going to make it. You've got the exceptions. I'm Braun Breaker right now is
yes, that's another one.
Must be more of
yes.
Scott than Rick, and he's Rick's kid though, but he has more of the Scott tendencies.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about the Rock's daughter yet.
She hasn't done a whole lot, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
What about Cameron Grimes? You know, he's from the Carolinas.
Yes.
Oh, Grimes. Oh, yeah. Yep. What's his name? Andrew Everett. I love Andrew.
Yes.
He works Impact. Of course, I love Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. We worked with them.
I'm so big on Mike Bennett.
Oh my God, so good. So good, man.
I really want to work him.
Yes.
Like, not just that, but like don't know if you follow his social stuff, but he's like super positive.
Yep.
And they went through a lot when they both got released from WWE. But
Yep.
he put his head down and went back to work for his family. And like, I could not respect that dude more.
Yep. What a success! Great guys.
One of the people that I absolutely love just talking to was Caprice Coleman.
Of course.
Yeah. DC is great.
Like I met him.
He might be getting a match with Jericho. That's the rumor.
What's that?
He might be getting a match with Jericho, because of the Ring of Honor stuff that just happened at the pay-per-view. Yeah. And they've been jawing back and forth on like Twitter.
CC can go still too, boy. He looks phenomenal.
Yes, he does. The ageless one.
He is that.
His IQ in wrestling is just
so good,
off the charts. Hey, you brought up Jericho there. I'm gonna ask whether or not you guys actually watched last night's match with.
I saw clips. I saw the finish.
No. The question I was going to ask about it is, do you think that this is Jericho finally sitting there going, okay, I lost the Ring of Honor title. The best way for me to get people back behind me is going to be, I'm going to lose a string of matches to nobodies, and I'm going to start losing my confidence and then have to work his way back.
Possibly.
Could be.
I think
or is it 1, 2, 3 Kid Razor Ramon?
That's what like if you listened to Busted Open this morning, you heard that's what they were talking about. But I think that Jericho is Teflon, right? Like
yeah, he could lose 50 matches in a row and it wouldn't hurt him.
I told you last week, to me, he's the greatest of all time overall because he's reinvented himself so much and he's always consistently stayed on top and elevated other people. I mean, you can't say he's not.
Yeah, and like losing last night to this Andretti kid is honestly no worse than losing to Fandango.
No, it's not going to hurt him. This is the thing about it, man. If you and Jericho knows this better than anybody, you can get over and not go over. I mean, that's a saying we say all the time. If you do it right,
Ron the Truth Killings. That's all I got to say.
Yes. Give me a break.
He's had a job for how many years in WWE, and pretty much all he does is lose.
Yep.
Hey, and remember, he's a guy that had one of the last 5 matches against The Rock.
Right.
So,
or we have to talk about George South.
Oh, George South. Oh my God.
I was going to bring him up.
41 years in the business.
That's right, buddy. God, George is the man. He is the man.
Well, gentlemen, it's been wonderful. Why don't you go ahead and give your socials, do all that stuff. I know that you both have places to be and people to talk to and everything else. It has been absolutely terrific having you on the show tonight. I don't want to keep you longer than you want to be here because we still got to talk about the Mandy Rose stuff and everything else. So I want you guys to talk about your socials, let everybody know how to reach you, and then let's see if we can get you some more follows.
Go ahead, Sean.
Mine's simple. It's Unfiltered Sean Cruz on Facebook, at Unfiltered Sean Cruz on Instagram, at Man of No Filter on Twitter, which to be honest, I don't use that much, but I do have it. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So you got it, BQ.
Yep. For me, it's Pain Train Preston Quinn on Facebook, Pain Train PQ on Twitter. The company that I'm going to be running up here starting in 2023, Mid-Atlantic Territory Wrestling, matwonline.com, facebook.com/MAT Wrestling, Matt Wrestling. And we have yet to make the other social handles for MATW yet, but that's going to be something you're going to be seeing a whole lot of, that we're sitting on a powder keg with that thing.
Oh, don't forget the store too. The collectible store.
Oh, Mullets and More Retro Store, my collectible. Thank you, Sean. I'm so worried about wrestling. I forgot about my shop.
Right? Yeah, this is collectibles, comics, everything.
Yep, Facebook.com, Mullets and More Retro Store. That is your 80s pop culture, vinyl records, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers, the whole 9 yards, man. We go all out with that. So,
let me know if you want to do comic book signings. I'll tell you, because I always look for a place to do signings at.
Very good. And I also have a comic book character that's going to be coming out that was based off of a wrestler, Shanghai Pierce. He's going to be on Conquest Comics.
Oh, cool.
And, So yeah, I've got that coming out too. They're an upstart company out in our way, and we look forward to it. And I'll talk to you guys, I guess, off the air about the comic thing, because I'm always interested in seeing wrestling comics.
Cool.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll grab your information from Sean so that way you and I can just communicate with each other, because I mean I'm writing out of 4 different books right now, editing other books, stuff I can't talk about, other stuff I kind of talk about. Some stuff I just say bullshit, I'm going to talk about it anyway, but like, it is what it is. But definitely, because if you're going to be at WrestleCade and everything else, even before that, I'd like to get in touch with you so that we can kind of start that synergistic relationship of what we can do with each other.
Man, that
For
So I do have one thing to say though. The big news dropped last night. Henry Cavill is out as Superman. I hate Superman, but I am extremely pissed about this.
I am too.
They are screwing up and dropping the ball. He is the greatest Superman, even better than Reeves. And I grew up on Reeves. I get it, but you can't get better than Henry Cavill.
Nope.
So James Gunn came out today and did post multiple tweets about it. And he did say that the script that he's currently writing,
it's a younger Superman, right?
Part of how he got the job was because of the script he's writing, and it starts the DC universe with a younger Superman. However, and I want to say that as if I was Howard Finkel. However, with that, he did say that the communication that he's had with Henry Cavill was a very good set of meetings that he's had with him. So you could see Henry Cavill down the road, maybe in a different role.
They better, because he lost The Witcher because of this.
Yeah,
People
no
are
shit.
pissed. People are pissed
No, he did not. He left The Witcher because of creative differences.
Really? Okay. Well, at least that's not.
Yeah. Sorry, uber geek here.
That's fine. I'd rather get the real information.
He left the Witcher role because a lot of people thought that because it happened at the same time that he was announcing the Superman thing was because of Superman.
Makes sense.
He left the role because apparently the creative direction that they want to take the show isn't the direction of like how the books went, which is where he really wanted to be involved.
Yeah,
with
he didn't want to go by the books.
He can recite the books.
Yep.
So like that, Warhammer, all this other stuff. What's really interesting is like the guy, if you ever watched the show iZombie, the guy that played Rafe, the Indian guy on it.
Yeah.
He actually went on Twitter today and said, "Fuck it, let's just make a Warhammer movie that we can both agree on." And like you get those two guys involved in a Warhammer movie,
That would be good.
Because everybody knows that Henry Cavill's like the biggest Warhammer fan in the world. So like you get the right person writing a script for that, you get those guys involved with it, you're gonna have a hit movie. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So but it more than anything else, it does free him up to be James Bond if he wants to be. So
that would be good. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all.
That we didn't get to see him go like that as Superman one time. Cocking the arms and getting ready to sit there and throw the punch like he did in the Mission Impossible movie. When he did that like that, oh man, that like if I got to see that as him as Superman, forget about it. And let's be real. At some point, DC is going to sit there and do the same thing that Marvel did with Spider-Man, and they're going to say, we're going to put all the Supermans that we still have
on Batman, all the
he's going to sit there and he's going to all of a sudden just like land in there, superhero landing, and he's going to look up and you're going to be like, oh shit, like
Yep. Black Adam. In the Black Adam, they showed Henry Cavill Superman.
Yep. You don't really hear what they've talked about with that. They're actually talking about removing that after credit scene. So yeah, they're talking about removing the after credit scene from Black Adam because he's not going to be the Superman anymore. But gentlemen, we've kept you on far too long, but it has been wonderful having you. You guys have given great information. we will definitely be in touch, Preston, because I think you and I can sit there and just bullshit and talk for hours offline. Sean and I already do, so
Basically.
Yeah.
Sean, you got to read a script. Last thing I'll ask you.
I did, and like I told you last night, it was fantastic. Like I could literally visually picture everything.
And that's what makes a good comic book script. So I hear that, my friend. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the Potsy and Tino show.
Thank you, Potsy.
It has been our honor and our pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Y'all have a great night.
I'll see you Saturday, brother.
Have a wonderful holiday, and hopefully we'll have you guys back on soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good one.
All right.
Later.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I went 15 minutes and didn't.
Yeah, you went 30 minutes with your "What's up with you," not knowing what was going on. Let's go ahead and jump into pro wrestling. How about that? All right. So where are we starting? SmackDown.
Yeah.
All right, SmackDown. SmackDown. You don't remember what happened? Bloodline. Braun Brutes.
Yeah, they lost.
All right, what do you want to talk about? How about
I'm trying to remember anything. What I do want to talk about is what do we think is going on that's going to be on Monday. We're talking about on Raw. The whole Alexa Bliss thing.
You want to talk about Raw?
Yeah, because I want to get to this because just like they're milking and they're taking too long for Bray, which now we know that he's injured. They're dragging their feet on this Alexa thing too.
I love the fact that she got the #1 contendership, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I didn't expect it. I thought Bayley was going to get that again.
Yeah.
And they were going to go to the Royal Rumble, and it was going to be Bayley versus Bianca, and Bayley was going to lose again. You know, that kind of shit. Or Bayley wins. I don't even know. But the fact that Bayley lost clean in that ring, and she lost to the Twisted Bliss.
Yes.
Even though they
were
trying to say, oh, she's not very sure-footed and blah blah blah. She normally is. She did. And I mean, a lot of that could be because there's sweat on the bottom of her boots, and you know, like it wasn't meant to be a slip up or whatever. And Bayley, being the professional, sat there and waited for it, which is fine. Luckily, there weren't as many of those moments in that match of the everybody waiting outside for the dive.
Well, because I think you weren't going to have that because there weren't really anybody outside
because they got kicked out.
Because Becky came and ran off.
Both of them, which I find funny that she's able to run off 2 people at once.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that when we talk about Dynamite as well, because somebody ran off 3 people on Dynamite.
Yeah.
And I was not happy about that based on who the 3 people were. But when it comes to Alexa, I loved the fact that like Bianca sat there, put her hand out. Alexa grabs the hand and turns it into a.
No, she put her hand out. She went like this, and when she hugged her,
she turned it into the
Sister Abigail,
into the hole for the Sister Abigail, and then all of a sudden, like Bianca like slips out of it or whatever.
No, she let it go because what had happened when she went like this for the hug, the thing flashed on the screen.
Oh,
you didn't see the thing flash.
So
she hugged her, and then when she hugged her, all of a sudden she had her Sister Abigail, and they panned on her face, and she was deadpan, and all of a sudden she snapped out, and she looked at Bianca, and she went like this and let her up. So it's all a second personality. That's what it looks like. It thinks whenever. I'm okay with it. Okay. Like I don't know how it's going to play out. I hope that it plays out the way that they want it to, which is to return Alexa to prominence. Speaking of returning to prominence, Asuka came out no makeup. Thank God. No, but it was kind of it was weird, but I think they were like, yeah, this is the Asuka back in NXT when she was no nonsense. So you're thinking, okay, she's gonna beat Rhea. She still got her ass whooped. So what are they doing with Asuka? Why are we? Because they were talking about her tweets and how she's I don't know, being weird. Her tweets are different. So what are they doing with Asuka? Are they going to make her the badass kick-ass that she was, or no?
So, and I don't want to see her going back to Bliss with Bray. Put her back into 5 Feet of Fury Bliss. Thank you, Michael Turner. Not going to happen.
She's going back to Bray.
She's definitely going to Bray. However, sorry, I can't help that. Like every time I hear that word now, I have to say it like Howard Finkel. And I apologize for it. But I almost wonder if Asuka's going to be another person in that Bray Wyatt 6, because she's been posting pictures of Kana, which is her with different makeup on. That's almost like a weird Jokerized version of Asuka.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is like the crazy version of Asuka, which is funny because obviously with the green stuff in her eyes and the makeup and like that was always the crazy version of Asuka in WWE. But this is almost like Ringu movie style Asuka, like that kind of creepy and that kind of. So the rumor is that like she's going back to the no makeup to kind of prepare everybody for when all of a sudden you see her with different makeup on and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So that's got me wondering, but her tweets have been saying stuff like goodbye, like I'm out, I'm leaving. So it could be that her contract's up. I mean, she's 44 years old. She's not young.
Wow.
She's not quite Sumi Sakai, Jason, wearing her orthopedic Skechers. I mean, she is Asuka's grandma.
He's going to take the damn.
He's going to take the tickets?
Yeah, you just chill.
But it is interesting. But right now, should she beat Rhea Ripley? No. No, especially if Rhea Ripley has Dominic Mysterio outside the ring. Because the way that Rhea won that match was Dominic got in Asuka's face and said, if you want her, you got to go through me.
And she spit the mist on him.
And she spit the mist in him. And it was amazing because it was blue mist. And they showed it twice. He kept his eyes open.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the fuck he took that, because like I am not like if I know it's coming, I'm gonna be like.
Maybe he knew it was coming, but he didn't know when. You know what I'm saying? So maybe she called him off.
Maybe, but
I'm gonna do it on the count of 3. 1.
Wait, are you gonna go on 3, or you're gonna go on? You're getting to 3, and you're gonna like which is maybe, but I'll tell you. Like Dominic taking it like a champ was great, but him being outside the ring, like I can't see, and
back in the medical,
and then them sitting there being like, you're a big man, you can do this, you're a champ.
I can't see. He said it could have been worse. And she's like, priest.
And he's like, you're a legend, you're a legend. It was great.
Oh, that backstage segment was awesome.
It was fun. It was terrible, but it was great.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those where you're like, this could go either way.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley at the end of the night gets fired.
Did you see the
Adam Pearce dropped an F-bomb.
Oh yeah, because he pushed it.
He's like, what the fuck? It's like, boop.
You see it later. I think it's on you. Oh, might have been like,
you sent it to me.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry. I thought that was going to be one of those Rick rolls that he does all the time, where he's like, I just want to go ahead and tell everybody, never going to give you up, never going to let you. I thought that was going to, and I was like, if Tino sent me a fucking Rick roll, I'm going to be pissed. And it wasn't. He literally rescinded the entire thing on his TikTok, and I'm like, why didn't they just wait until Friday to sit there and do that?
Yeah.
Or wait until the following Monday and be like, I asked Bobby Lashley to show up, blah, blah, blah. WWE management has told me that he needs to be here, and then apologize. And as he goes to apologize, Bobby Lashley sit there and, yeah, do this. Do this.
Go do this.
I'd be completely okay with that. Because what they're trying to do right now is what Bobby Lashley should have always had happening, making him the next Brock Lesnar.
Mm.
Like, keep him off TV for a month, but they're not going to do that apparently. Because I think what this really is doing is it's getting ready to get Adam Pearce fired.
Not scrap, Daddy.
Yeah, well, I think maybe. Do you find it weird that they had like 2 weeks of Triple H being the man in charge, and now all of a sudden it's back to Adam Pearce? Like, I know Triple H can't get involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, physically, he cannot get. He literally has a pacemaker. Or a what do they call it? A defibrillator in his chest. Like, he literally has. Where if all of a sudden he starts having an episode, they hit a button and he just.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with him. So he can't wrestle anymore. He'll never wrestle again, unfortunately. Although Jamie Noble wrestled his final match this past weekend and got the win
over Nydia.
Over the Bloodline when he pinned Sami Zayn.
I knew it wasn't being the real Bloodline.
Oh, it would have been great if it was Jey Uso.
It would have been great if it was Solo. Who, and I'm not mad at, I'm here for it, is paying tribute to Umaga with that Samoan spike and then the hip thing in the corner.
Did you see when he came out? He's sitting there looking at the way his thumb's tied up, and he's like,
point like that.
He's like, he can't move that thumb. He's sitting there going like this. He can't move that thumb, so it's probably going to sleep.
Yeah.
And then he's got to sit there and do that move where he's like jamming it. Like, what if he goes too far and he doesn't realize it because it's asleep?
Yeah.
He could literally like choke somebody. But he's doing that, and he's also doing a tribute to his father, because he's doing the ass into the.
That's Umaga. Umaga did that.
Oh, you're right.
Umaga would hit you with that, and then he go in the corner and he go, because he does it. And he just runs at you and just turns and slams.
Yeah, you're right. It is Umaga, because originally they said
Rikishi's a stink face. He just puts his butt in his face.
Well, but I'm sure Rikishi also would run his hip into people into the corner before he got to the stink face.
Yeah, but Umaga, the spike and the way he's doing it is Umaga.
Well, and that all seems to have come from the fact that, like, at the anniversary of Umaga's passing, Solo posted, "I'll never forget," and it was like him sitting there with his arm up like this or whatever, and then suddenly he was doing those two. But that week, he was suddenly had the entire thumb wrapped up. Because I'll tell you what, dude, like I've had my hand wrapped. You wrap it a little too tight, you don't feel anything, and it's not good. But
so I'm digging that. I'm digging they're doing something with him. I'm interested to see.
I'm digging that. I'm also digging that when he won his match on Monday against Elias.
Yes.
When he won the match against Elias, Sammy was in the ring, and Sammy's like all excited and everything, and Solo's just like getting smacked by Sammy, and he's just like staring, and it's Umaga.
Mm-hmm.
Except he's not doing the
But he got drug away because he was getting ready. He put the chair like he did Riddle. He put the chair.
Well, and then Owens came in.
But you notice too, Sammy was pulling. Not now. He's doing like Ostrada used to do with the mummy. Had to pull him away, and the mummy's like, ah.
Well, except Solo did get hit with a stunner.
Yeah, he got hit.
He got hit with the stunner, and he just bounced up and fell back, and then rolled out of the ring. And that's when Sammy got out of the Sammy stared him down, rolled out of the ring.
I was sitting there watching too, and he's still holding the chair, and what's his name got up. I thought he was going to hit him with the chair. I didn't even dawn on me he was going to stun him. I knew he was going to get him, but I thought he was going to hit him with the chair. Turn like, get off me.
Well, remember, they're both baby faces.
So he hit him with that stunner. I was like, yeah, that's a Stone Cold.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Anybody who didn't see that coming, didn't think it was coming.
I knew he was going to attack him. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a chair. It didn't dawn on me he was going to hit him with the stunner.
I mean, the fact that backstage before the match, he's like, you got my brother, I got you, we're okay, we should be. And he's like, what do you mean we're okay? We're not okay.
You forget what you did to me.
What? I still believe that you are your brother. Like,
it was hilarious.
And I don't know if you noticed last week. I don't think he was doing it this week, but last week Elias was wearing a "I am not Elias" T-shirt.
No, it's.
Oh yeah,
I didn't notice that.
He was wearing an
I'm
I'm not Elias. So it was the Ezekiel T-shirt of "I am not." He was wearing the "I am not Elias" T-shirt last week.
That's hilarious.
And he had like the vest on over it.
That's probably why I didn't notice it.
But he totally had like the. Yeah,
that is funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But the Bobby Lashley thing, hitting another official, they're really trying to push him to be the next Brock Lesnar. I have a feeling he's going to be out. Like they're going to be like, yeah, he's back, but if he attacks another official, blah blah blah, then he'll attack Adam Pearce. He'll be out. Then he'll make a surprise appearance in the Rumble.
Yeah.
He'll get thrown out by Brock Lesnar, or vice versa, or they'll both go out at the same time, and that'll cause the Mania match between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. But hey, I'm all for that match.
There's going to be another Roman and Brock.
I don't think so. I mean, and if it is, good. Because
but how many times they face each other?
But how many? I mean, this is only the third time they'll face each other ever.
That's not, it used to be. There was a time when Roman and Brock is the third time ever. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
But even them, they've had like 6 matches.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but 6 matches over like 5 years, bro.
No, it wasn't over 5 years. It seemed like it was like every
WrestleMania 34. We're at WrestleMania 38.
So they were every pay-per-view they were wrestling.
Not as many as you think. Now, Monday and Friday nights they would beat each other up or whatever for 3 months at a time, but no, because Brock didn't wrestle that many matches, so you know it didn't happen. But anyway, let's talk about.
I want to talk about that. If NXT is next, I want to talk about that pay-per-view.
Yes,
that was interesting, but it was a good pay-per-view. It was an interesting concept. What did you think of that concept?
It was Jeremy Borash.
What?
Impact did that same fucking match. They didn't call it Iron Survivor. They called it something else, but they did the point system penalty box match.
I don't know. They might have. I just don't remember.
And in fact, Tommy Dreamer flat out said, if he was asked, "Hey, what do you think of the Iron Survivor match?" He said Jeremy Borash finally got an idea into WWE. I was surprised that the women's match only one person got 2 falls. Somebody didn't get any falls.
No, that was the men's match. That was JD McDonough didn't get any falls.
Well, yeah, but that's so interestingly enough, when you think about JD McDonough, he had been the number 1 contender multiple times already. So like him not getting any, that's kind of what I expected.
What do you think, Grayson Waller coming in and getting 2 right off the bat?
I loved it. I loved it, and he ended up winning.
Yeah.
But that's chicken should heal, right?
He ran on the plate. He chased him around the ring. My favorite was Carmelo went to pin that dude. He said nope and pulled him out and continued to run around the ring.
Now the thing I didn't like.
Oh, that was hilarious.
The thing I didn't like was Carmelo on Tuesday night basically being talked down to by the guy who used to be his like secondary.
Yeah.
Like, are they suddenly going? Trick Williams is actually like.
I think they're about to split.
Oh yeah, but like.
Well, Carmelo doesn't need him, so I think you know what I'm saying. There's gonna be the Rockers. He's gonna kick his ass to a plate glass.
When he's showing him the pictures, and he's like Axiom went and posterized you, and you were staring at it like, and he shows the picture, and he's like delete that. He goes, it's on Twitter. So I watched NXT this week.
Oh God.
And what I thought, so Iron Survivor, Roxanne Perez wins.
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
Yes. What I'm not okay with is, and we'll talk about it when we get to NXT.
Well, we are next.
Well, we'll get to it when we get to that match. Because I am pissed off about it.
About
Roxanne winning and why she won. Because now her win is overshadowed. She was the ROH champion, so we know that she is
solid.
solid.
She was trained by Booker T.
Yes.
Which they had like the moment outside the ring. Which I find hilarious because Booker T is heel
commentator.
But
like even at the pay-per-view, the pay-per-view, like, you're like a proud papa. He's like, yeah. And then when she won, at the pay-per-view, when she won the pay-per-view, they had to pan off of Booker T because he literally cried.
He left the ring, or he left ringside and actually walked up with her.
Was that at the pay-per-view?
No, it was Tuesday that he did that.
No, pay-per-view, he cried.
Well, he should because I mean the girl's 21 years old, maybe.
Yes.
You know,
like she's 20. She's 20.
I thought she was 20.
20. Yeah, she might be.
She might be 21 now. But okay. So let's talk about it.
It's like I said, it's overshadowed right now.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
I know we got Michael Turner in the audience. He's probably already talking about it. Chris Barrett says, free Mandy. He says, I saw all the leaked content. It was very mundane. No, it was not. It was very intentional. It was very abundant.
And I read somewhere that's like she knew. She said, yeah, that's probably going to get me in trouble. So you knew it was going to get you in trouble eventually, but she did it anyway.
Here's the thing. There's a video out there where she actually sits there and says, hey, I'm getting ready to hop off this live in about a minute unless somebody tips me $400.
And I'm sure somebody did.
Well, no, she hopped off.
Oh.
But there was another person that while she was sitting there saying, okay, I'm getting ready to hop off of here, sat there and said, like in the chat, said, come on, guys, someone should tip her $500. And she's like, yeah, that person's right. Somebody should tip me $500. Which, by the way, if you've ever watched any of that live stuff, that's exactly what all those women do. The thing is that she charges $25 a month for this site that is not OnlyFans. So I bet she vetted to figure out whether or not her contract allowed her to be on a site that the WWE did not have on their list of denied sites, right? She probably sat there and found the one that allowed her to create her own website because her website is MandyRoseSacs.com, but it goes through this thing called like fan time, I think is what it is. It goes through fan time. So like they allow you to create your own like URL to get to it. So that's why it's under her name, but it's all broadcast through this fan time thing. And then she gets to put up a paywall. So the paywall is supposed to be what allows her to have the anonymity side of everything, right? Fact is, anybody that finds us, and okay, you know I'm a Busted Open fan. Busted Open started talking about this, but they said that nowhere on her social media does she actually talk about this. That is a lie. On her Twitter, WWE_Mandy Rose, if you click on her profile, she's got a link tree. You click on the link tree, and it's one of the first two ones on there. So because of this, to say that she did not advertise it is a fucking lie. To say that she did not post content that was against what WWE standards and practices are for or against currently is she did not. She posted against that stuff. She broke the rules. Okay. However, and I'm not going to do it this time. However, she's still on the NXT roster page she is still prominent on the videos from Tuesday night, which if she were fired, they would scrub her from that website as well as they could. Maybe not from Peacock, maybe not from the pay-per-views or any, but from the videos of Roxanne Perez winning the title, Mandy Rose's face would not be seen right now.
I don't know.
So my feeling is that Mandy Rose is still under contract, but she is suspended. And she will make her Royal Rumble entrance in January, which is about 45 days from now, which is about the time that you get suspended for. At the same time, you are absolutely 100% correct that Roxanne Perez's entire victory has suddenly been spoiled and made to look like a charlatan. She is looking like a false champion based on the fact that she won the belt on Tuesday rather than at the next premium live event.
And they're saying the reason why they did that is because they found out about Mandy Rose and he had to call it on the fly.
However, with that, God, I said it again. Even with that, when did Rhea Ripley win that title?
What?
When she won the NXT title.
I don't remember what.
Yeah, she won it on a Tuesday.
Mm.
She didn't win it during a premium live event. She didn't win it at a special moment. She beat Shayna Baszler on Tuesday night.
Yeah, but they didn't call him. I mean, this match was supposed to be at the next pay-per-view. They wanted to get that belt off of Mandy, which is why Shawn Michaels called that audible.
Which is why I think it's a suspension. Because I think they wanted to take it off her at the pay-per-view. But if they did that, they'd have less than 30 days for the Royal Rumble. Now, by doing it here on the 15th, 14th, 13th, whatever it was, Royal Rumble's January 28th. It's more than a month away, so she has a 30-day suspension.
So all the tweets from like GG and JC, you think those are just, they told them to tweet that? They're in on it too?
I don't think they told them. I think there's some people that might think it's real. WWE, if they release you, put out a press conference or put out a press release that says, we've come to terms with the release of this person.
Okay.
When was the last time they didn't? Vince McMahon?
I'm sure it's been done.
No, Vince McMahon even sat there and said, I'm retiring.
Okay.
Enzo might be the last time. And they just wanted his name completely off the books because there was sexual abuse and sexual misconduct charges and whatever.
They didn't do Velveteen Dream. Remember when Velveteen Dream was off on that? They didn't do that to him. They didn't want him. They still took the time to say, you know,
Patrick Bateman.
Whatever.
Patrick, whatever his name was. Was it Patrick Bateman? No, Patrick Bateman was the guy from the movie with Christian Bale.
It's Patrick something, I don't know. But yeah.
But yeah,
so that's my only problem with it is it's overshadowed, it's spoiled. She looks weak as a champion now. You know what I'm saying? They need to do something. If they're going to keep the belt on her, they need to make her strong.
I would assume that you may see a storyline where Gigi Dolan and JC Jane sit there and come at her, and she beats both of them in the same night.
Well, I know they got their hands full with
But that makes her look strong, and that puts her against Toxic Attraction again. So as long as they book her strong.
Well, but see, there's no need to put her back against Toxic Attraction because if what you're saying is true, Mandy goes Royal Rumble, Mandy probably goes up to the big boys, so she won't be worried about the NXT title anymore. So they'll have, you know what I mean?
Well, there's also, so interestingly enough, today of all days, a story came out that said Toxic Attraction's going to the main roster, but it mentioned all three of them. So if Mandy got fired, then what if JC Jane and Gigi Dolan sat there and said, our friend's not here anymore, and we're putting you in a match where it's the two of us against you, and if we lose, we're gone too.
Yeah, that can happen.
And then they all show up on whatever show after the Royal Rumble.
Oh. Okay, yeah, so I want to talk about something
You
else.
okay over there?
I want to talk about something else for pay-per-view because I can't believe I let that fly.
Go ahead.
It's the New Day. Yes, it is.
Yep.
So-
We can go back to NXT on this.
So I was surprised, but I wasn't that they won that. But now it makes me so. Are they still on SmackDown? Have they gone down to NXT now? You know what I mean? Like Mandy did, and Apollo. They're NXT champions, but they're still going to be on SmackDown.
What did I say last week?
You said they're probably going to SmackDown so they can get more eyes on NXT.
And they're already over. They're kind of Teflon, so they can lose matches. But if you really look at the tag team division in NXT, it is kind of lacking now. There's a lot of tag teams, but there aren't a lot of good tag teams.
That Jensen, the
Brooks and Jensen,
I think they're pretty good.
I don't think that they're.
And the Creeds.
Well, the Creeds are out right now. One of them's hurt.
Yeah. I'm talking about, but they're built the Creeds. They got that Ben this year.
Of course.
You've got some good tag teams there.
But
we were talking to them. They just got to build them up. They got to make that. Like we were talking to the gentleman we had on before, Sean and what?
Chris Barrett just said, "Can we talk about how Shawn Michaels stole TNA's King of the Mountain idea for Iron Survivor?" He did not steal it, Chris Barrett. Did you miss what I said earlier when I said that it was Jeremy Borash's idea, and Jeremy Borash finally got an idea over in the WWE?
Because Borash is working on it.
It's exactly the same match. We know it, but Tino didn't. But
I don't remember that match.
King of the Mountain, yeah.
Oh, it's King of the Mountain.
It's the King of the Mountain match.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what it was called.
Okay. I do know King of the Mountain.
We did discuss that already, but more importantly, the New Day winning the tag team titles does a couple things. Terrence actually was talking about this when I saw him, not tonight, but one of the other nights.
So he said they're going to put them against urban teams
now. No, he said that after the Usos overtook the New Day's longest reigning streak, they wanted to do something special for the New Day again. And the best thing they could do was make sure that they were the very first Triple Crown tag team champions. And you can never take that away from them. Like, you could say, we're the second Triple Crown tag team champions, but you can never say that anyone else was the first. And the New Day is that special.
Yes.
All three of those guys at this point. The funny thing is that Xavier Woods probably has not had the Hall of Fame career, but he did have Paige.
But Big E hadn't had a Hall of Fame career either.
He's a world champion, and he's like an 8-time tag team champion.
Okay.
He's also a U.S. champion. I think he's also an Intercontinental champion.
Kofi's had it all too.
Kofi's had 15 tag team championships. Now, how many of those are when the three of them were together, so they all get to say that they had? Like how many of them were really there? Because I'll tell you,
wasn't he tag team champion with everyone?
I think he was. I think he was also tag team champions with somebody else.
Was it Ray?
I don't think it was Ray. I wanted to say Randy Orton, but they hated each other for so long. I mean, someone can look that up for us.
We need Sketchy LeJoe.
We do need a Sketchy LeJoe moment. Iron Survivor is a King of the Mountain minus the ladder. Yeah. Although I think a ladder did come out at some point during one of those matches. Xavier Woods is the biggest jabroni in the New Day. I disagree.
Who said that?
What do you think?
You're banned.
We would never ban Chris Bear. We just won't read out your comments aloud again. But again, that's why the New Day was given this. The New Day is a ratings draw. So if the New Day is advertised on SmackDown to show up on Tuesday,
Yeah.
and then they're advertised on Monday to show up on Tuesday, they're almost a guaranteed 50,000 people showing up.
Here's my next. Okay. I'll get them.
Thanks.
Hey, they sat there for an hour.
I wasn't gonna eat them while I'm watching the show.
Anyway.
Okay, maybe I will.
So
I will share them with you. Thank you. So go ahead. Go ahead.
maybe even okay.
You know how many blue ones there are there?
I know.
Yeah. Democrats.
Who's going to take Braun Breaker's belt? It wasn't Apollo, and I really thought it was going to be Apollo.
I didn't think it was going to Apollo.
I don't think it's going to be Grayson.
I kind of do.
Grayson?
I kind of do.
What?
They're high on him, dude.
I want to see JD McDonough and Grayson.
The reason why I like Grayson is because he's a chicken shit heel. And McDonough is too. But McDonough's not as well known at this point. Remember, Grayson Waller's the guy that had a match against AJ Styles. Right?
Yeah.
He's the guy that went against Cameron Grimes and took all of your favorites. And he is going to do the sneakiest bullshit to beat Braun Breaker so that Braun Breaker can show up in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what's going to happen. But I want to know who's going to take that belt from him. Well, the Vengeance is in February after the Royal Rumble, so
yeah, but they're fighting at
Vengeance.
No, New Year's Evil.
That's right. You're right. My bad.
They're fighting at New Year's Evil, which makes sense that the bad guy would win that match.
New Year's Evil.
Yeah. Don't be surprised too if suddenly like what was their name? The Ascension. Or somebody like that shows up.
I'd almost rather have not the Ascension. Who's the other tag team that was Paul Ellering was managing?
Oh,
Authors of Pain.
Dude, those guys could show up. Any of those four could show up.
I'd rather see them.
Victor and Connor and Akam and Razar or whatever. Like with Akam's Razor.
Yeah.
Any of those four guys.
Teletubbies on there.
Teletubbies on their chests. I started drawing Teletubbies on Ron's chest. Oh, the APA. And yet they were fucking badasses.
Oh, God.
Had fucking Teletubbies drawn on their chest.
Before you came in, I was watching, and they were talking about how they were doing the bar fights, and they were at Timmy White's bar, and they were Terrapin's bar, and he's like, he knew that he was going to get new shit in his bar. He said, we rebuilt that bar. He said, it got to the point where they were fighting, and Tim White would be standing behind him. Hey, Ron, get the monitor. Get the monitor. Get the TV. Don't get the TV.
Get that old school TV so I get a flat screen.
And he said,
and WWE would pay for all that shit, man.
And Ron said he told Tim, he's like, hey, you need to start paying us. We're tearing up this place. We're demolishing this place. You need to start paying us too.
He probably did.
He said we have to shake him down.
I saw a video this week about when Roman Reigns was on Jimmy Fallon, I think, and it was right before the winner take all match with Brock, and he asked him, he was like, "So what's your relationship like with Triple H?" Right, and he goes, "Man, me and H, we go back, man. Like I feel like he always knew that there was going to be something special about me." And he's talking really, really calm, even keel. He's not head of the table or anything like he has been. But he's like, but like when we all started, you know that the WWE is the show. It's where you want to go. It's where you want to be. But I started in and Fallon's like in like bingo halls and stuff, right?
FCW.
And he's like, well, I started, after I got out of football, I went to this thing called FCW. And you're right. He started talking about that, and he goes, and I kept going to like Dusty Rhodes and all these guys, and I'd be like, hey, is there any way to get more money? And I'd be like, okay, yeah, we can give you more money. So they give him a little bit more, So instead of $50 a night, he was getting $60 a night or whatever. And then he's like, hey, can I get a little bit more money? And then like $80 a night. And he's like, okay, that's really good, really. And then he goes, like, when he was at FCW and actually like wrestling for like the championship and everything else, he finally sits there and he goes, man, I'm gonna need a little bit more money. And they're like, no. And he's like, well, what do I have to do to get more money? And they're like, you have to talk to Triple H. So he's like, well, where's Triple H? He's like, he's not here until like the big show, like on the weekend or whatever. He's like, so I can't get any more money? No, you can't get any more money. And then finally, like, he comes, he wrestles the match. He's like, can I talk to Triple H? And they're like, no, you can't talk to Triple H. But then he got his paycheck and there was more money on it. And he's like, so he's always taking care of me.
That's nice. That's funny.
But it shows you that a guy like Roman Reigns is never going to go to AEW.
No, he's not going anywhere.
Just like I don't think Kenny Omega's ever coming to WWE again. And I say again because yes, he did get a start there.
He looked rough when he was there too.
What's that?
He looked rough. I saw pictures when he was W.
He looked the same, but he didn't look
his hair was awful.
Yeah, it was. His hair's always been awful. Like I don't know what the fuck's up with Kenny Omega's hair. Like what kind of white dude has that hair?
Damn, that hair.
He's got like a Jerry curl, and he's a white dude.
Legend so close.
And I mean, he is a straight up white dude. It's not like he's like a mixed or anything. Like
it's called a perm. White people can have Jerry curls. It's called a perm.
I guess you're right. My dad had a perm at one point.
That's a perm.
Because they told him to ease his calyx. He could get a perm and it would ease it. So my dad went and got a, and it was like, Dad, why you got curly hair? And I'm not kidding. That was a true story right there.
That is awesome.
So okay.
That's the next tease.
So anything else on the Mandy Rose thing that you want to talk about? You want to say?
Yeah.
I Fightful, Sean Ross Sapp, all those guys were talking about how she'd been fired. But yet WWE has not acknowledged it. And until WWE acknowledges it, I do not acknowledge it. I don't think we can at this point. I think that their track record of saying when someone's been let go is that they tell you that they've been let go.
Yeah.
I mean, Vince McMahon, the chairman of the board, when he was no longer part of the company, it was immediate. It was, here's his retirement speech. And it would have been here's his resignation, so that's literally how I feel about that.
Two things on Dynamite that I want to talk about. One of them is it's the same thing you want to talk about because I was pissed off about it too. But the other thing, the one guy ran off everybody.
Oh yeah.
The other thing I want to talk
there's
about,
like 4 things I want to talk about, but not
the motherfucking best of 7 now. So they're down 4-1 now?
3-1, because 4-1 would be over.
3-1.
Yeah, because
so
it's best of 7, so you have to win 4.
Okay. So this next week, they're like, if they win it, they take it all. We know that's not going to happen.
Right.
I think that they're stopping at 3. And now Kenny Omega, which I want to know if it was shoot when he said it, but he was like, at the end of that match when he took the mic, he said,
there's already more talking that's going to happen tonight, so I'm not even supposed to be here doing this.
Yeah, he said, I'm not. He said I wasn't supposed to have this promo.
Such a work, dude.
I wasn't supposed to have this promo time and da 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 da. Which I don't. So you think it was a work? You don't think it was because he's from that we talk about. He's VP, so he thinks he can do what the fuck he wants to do.
So if it's a shoot, if I was Tony Khan, I would have them lose that next match. I'd be like, I'm the fucking booker. You went off book.
Because now they've already planned out the rest of them. So next week is
so you know what's going 7.
Next week's No Holds Barred. Then the following week it's Falls Count Anywhere, and the last one's the ladder match.
Yeah. So you know what's going 7, which is hot garbage. First of all, a best of 7. Now, this is when I knew for a fact that the Elite is winning this. Okay? And you guys can quote me on this when it happens. Okay? Chris Barrett, Michael Turner, Joe, if you're still in the audience. When Tony Schiavone said, and we want to point out that Death Triangle holds the titles until the last match.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they said that they know that it's not they won, so the belts.
He tried to clean it up and say the titles, they're champions. They're
the champions throughout the best of 7 series. Is what they meant. But he pretty much told us that it's going 7 and that the Elite are going to take their belts back, which is hot shit garbage. Like, it is a stinky pile of hot garbage.
Yes.
And
I might have to boycott AEW.
To your point of if Kenny Omega went off script, and they don't have a script, but he went off booking.
You know what I meant, yeah.
No. But
yeah.
But if he went off booking, then he deserves to be fucking punished.
Yes.
And I don't care if he's an EVP. And the reason why I think that was a work and not a shoot was the fact that he sat there and even put in his
adieu
and good night.
Yeah.
Like, why would he sit there and actually go that far if he was really shooting? Tony Khan probably would have been like, cut the mic.
Good point.
You know,
I don't know. Tony, I don't know.
No, Tony Khan wouldn't have, but Triple H would have.
Yeah. Tony Khan would have been able to say anything because he's got all their dicks in his mouth.
Yeah, he does have all their dicks in his mouth. It's getting annoying, man. So
I hate to be. I mean, that's rude. I'm sorry, but
no, it's not rude. It's true. He was sitting there basically letting CM Punk fuck him in the ass during the scrum.
Yep.
And the whole time he's like, "Well, that was probably my fault. That was probably my fault. Continue to keep putting that dick in my ass."
And as good as MJF is, he's letting MJF run all over him too.
MJF has really actually said all the right things since becoming champion.
You think?
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, like, they asked him about the Logan Paul thing when he was on someone else's show, and he said Logan Paul blew out his knee in 3 places in that match. He learned right there that this is not an easy sport. This is not an easy man's game. But I do want to go ahead and say that I have all the respect in the world for what he was able to do on his 3rd match, because it was incredible.
He does give props and I'm surprised.
He didn't used to. And it wasn't until he came back that he started to.
So what do you think changed?
Money. He's getting paid properly. When he left that night, and him and Tony Khan started talking to each other outside of everything. You know, you heard the fake phone call that they had, you know, right before his announcing that he was back and whatever. Like, Tony, you say Tony Khan's sucking his dick. Well, the fact is that, like, a guy like MJF, if MJF's not happy, MJF's leaving when his contract's up.
Yeah.
Like, he sees his best friend Cody Rhodes get a big deal in the WWE and suddenly have a major WrestleMania match. What other guy in AEW right now today gets that match against Seth Rollins?
Probably him.
Jericho?
MJF.
Sure. John Moxley?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've mentioned 2 WWE guys who went AEW, and the one homegrown guy that says that every time I'm on TV, the ratings go up.
Yeah.
Now, do the ratings really go up? No. The ratings are exactly where they always are. They don't go up. They don't go down. They stay exactly where they are. They've got their million fans.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's difficult, man. And that's why it's going to be interesting to see how they book this next match, because I want to go ahead and yes, I want to talk about two other things that happened during AEW, but I do want to talk about the world title match. So, which one do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about who helped Jungle Boy? Do you want to talk about the Jericho match? Or do you want to talk about the world title? Because those are the three things I want to talk about.
I want to hear your rant, Jungle Boy.
Well, we had people on earlier tonight, and I said we normally have Rob's rant of the week, so maybe I'm sitting here getting my opportunity to be a heel manager right now, or at least my
But the dude who ran down there, he's a bad boy.
Sorry,
He's a bad boy, and you know that's my boy.
So Jungle Boy is in the ring with who?
Who's he fighting?
I don't remember who he was fighting. I remember how it.
Wait, no. He was fighting Brian Cage.
Okay. So Brian Cage beating the shit out of him. Jungle Boy won the match, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he called.
Has Brian Cage won a match in AEW since coming back?
No, that's a waste of space too. He called out Morrissey.
Okay.
Which he's like, because I beat Brian Cage, I beat Luchasaurus at the pay-per-view. Now I want another big bitch. He said, I'm a big bitch. He's told him.
So William Morrissey comes out.
No, he didn't come out. Stokely came out.
Stokely comes out. Stokely brings out, who's the other one that was with him?
Moriarty came and attacked him first.
Lee Moriarty.
And then Morrissey came
out.
And
then Morrissey comes out. And they're all beating the shit out of him. I mean, Stokely's just kind of looking on because he's worthless. But you have two of them. And let me remind you, they have tried to push Morrissey as a monster so far. Like, as a Samoa Joe, as a Wardlow, as a, well, I would say Brian Cage, except Brian Cage has lost every match since coming back.
To be fair, Stokely did pull him away and tell him not now. To be fair, so he didn't really run.
So while they're in the ring beating down Jungle Boy,
my man,
the music hits.
My man.
And it's 205 Live Hook.
My man.
It's 205 Live.
No matter, Hook's beat Big Brother. He beat Bear Country. You remember they beat that big bastard?
Dude, you could beat Bear Country.
No. Hook's the man.
Anyways, Hook comes walking down to the ring. So they're still kicking and everything because they're not showing that. They're literally just showing Hook walking down to the ring. Hook gets into the ring. Hook looks at Morrissey. Morrissey, who's staring down at him like David and fucking Goliath. Stokely Hathaway sits there and goes,
So you got a problem with Hook. How come Stone Cold did it? How come if Moxley does it, it's okay? How come if it was Bryan Danielson would have come down there and they would have taken off, you wouldn't have had a problem with it?
Here's the problem I have with any of those guys doing that. Hook walked down to the ring. Stone Cold, he would have started walking, and then when he got about halfway, he'd have ran his ass down there, slid into the ring, hopped up, given a stunner, and then everybody else would have hopped out. So somebody would have been like, yeah, let's do this, and gotten his ass kicked immediately.
Okay.
Would have been dropped.
All right.
Stone Cold, like in the Rumble or whatever, hits that first guy with the stunner, tosses him over. The other one comes up, hits them with a stunner, tosses them over. Hits another one with a stunner, tosses them over.
But you said a key thing. Somebody would have stayed in the ring and said, come on. Nobody stayed in the ring.
Well, that's my problem. Why didn't a guy like Morrissey stare down Hook? Like, this isn't a moment where Hook should look better than everybody else. This is literally like, okay, I'm coming down to make the save, which means I got to slide into the ring and bend over the other guy, which means Morrissey's going to sit there and beat the shit out of me. Or I need to stand my ground while still keeping my arm like holding that guy back because he's down and making sure that I am taking the defensive position.
Okay.
You don't have the opportunity to sit there and go, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to stand you up, and I'm going to look at you like, when you're a foot fucking taller than me. When you're 40 pounds heavier than me. Like, I get that Hook is undefeated. I get that Hook is badass when it's one-on-one. But this was 3 people against him. If he's sitting there staring at Morrissey, it's just going to take Lee Moriarty cutting his leg out. Fucking Stokely Hathaway going, no, let's wait till later, is a bitch. Is a fucking bitch who, when you are a heel manager, you take every fucking opportunity to take that situation into control. And he literally was like, no, don't hurt my guy. It's bullshit. Am I wrong?
Yes, but
How am I wrong? Tell me.
because they're gonna build hook up, dude. This is the first time on there. This is his first time. Shut up. It's his first time on Dynamite.
You're right, because he's always on.
Yes, first time on Dynamite. So they gotta make him look strong. And I don't care if Morrissey beats his ass. I think that's a good thing. I think they should make him wait.
So
I see your point. I see your point.
My point.
I see your point.
And my extended point is this: even if Stokely Hathaway stayed out of the ring,
Mm-hmm.
because he was scared, at least let it look like we're getting a stare down between Morrissey and Hook until Jungle Boy feels well enough to get up to his knees so that he can look at Lee Moriarty before Lee Moriarty takes him out.
Okay.
Like, there is no reason why a guy like Morrissey, who you've been trying to push as a monster heel, should ever think that he cannot take a guy half his size.
All right.
There's no way ever. This is the whole Keith Lee syndrome.
I don't stop. I'm gonna get started on that. 10-17. We still got 2 points you need to make.
All right.
So you said there was nothing. You said
we should do the main event last because it was the main event.
All right. So give me your thoughts on Jericho.
Jericho versus what was his name? Let's Go Jobber.
It was
literally that's what they were.
Didn't we put it in there?
Yeah,
because I spelled
yeah,
it for you.
we did.
I spelled it for you.
We did. Action Andretti.
Yeah.
The crowd was chanting "Let's Go Jobber."
Were they? I didn't hear that.
The crowd was chanting "Let's Go Jobber" because at every step he seemed to be able to kick out of Jericho's moves. And when Jericho hit the code breaker and he kicked out, it stopped being "Let's Go Jobber," and they started saying "Action, action, action." Like they were behind it.
Jericho did a good job.
The question is, what is it?
I think Jericho, because he's how old is Jericho?
Almost 50.
So I think Jericho's winding down, and I think he's trying to push up new talent. You know what I'm saying? I think he's trying to bring up the new Ricky Starks. He's trying to. So he wants to, because like you said, we've got a lot of old WWE guys. We need some homegrown talent, and we need some younger talent to come up to main event status. If you push them, they can be low card, mid cards. You put some of those mid cards on the main event.
I thought you said low carb, but but why not put over Jungle Boy? Why put over a guy that we've never heard of?
Because I think Jungle Boy is already over.
Jungle Boy is, but okay.
I think Jungle Boy is almost Teflon too.
Because I'm gonna answer my question for you.
Oh Jesus!
No. I am. Jericho had a feud in the first year with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy suddenly was main event.
Yeah. Where's
Orange Cassidy now?
Mid card.
Low mid card.
No, I think he's mid card. He's got a strap.
Rampage mid card.
Yeah, he's mid card because I think they don't have a US strap. Nobody's doing anything with the fucking TNT title like shit.
But dude, they literally. Well, that's not true. Joe has it.
He's not defending it.
He was defending it. But my point is that like when you look at it, Jericho went against the guy who everybody thought could be a main event talent in Orange Cassidy, and he elevated him to to the same spot that he was. Because if you look at him right now, Orange Cassidy, yeah, he's got that All-Atlantic title, but he's literally in a 4-on-4 match on Friday night. He's not in singles matches. He's not.
So this Action Andretti, he's gonna be main event now.
No, that's the thing. But here's the difference. Do we talk about Orange Cassidy any differently now than we did back then? For 3 weeks, we talked about Orange Cassidy because he was up against Jericho.
Yeah.
Now he's part of the best friends. He's whatever. We talk about Danhausen more than we talk about him. Okay? Action Andretti, never heard of him before. Tomorrow he's on Busted Open. We probably could call him and get him on this show tonight. Okay?
Okay.
But I guarantee Jericho sat there and said, what if we do a story where after Claudio finally beat me and I tapped out to
the swing?
He went 30 times, dude. I would have tapped out too. Okay? I'm being real. Like you wouldn't even know where the fuck you were by the time you went 30 times to that thing. I don't know how Claudio stood up the entire time. But and Jericho, I don't know if you saw his Twitter. Somebody sat there and said, I can't fucking believe you would tap out to the swing. And he goes, it's a fucking brutal move, you fucking hag. Or something like that. Like, he just annihilated the dude with like, fuck this and fuck you and fuck that and fuck you. You know, whatever. But anyway, I literally think that this is going to be, like, if you looked at Jericho's expressions after he lost that match. Now, the cutaway and everything to Ricky Starks while Jericho was still in the ring trying to collect his thoughts and everything, I thought was a really bad cutaway because Jericho was trying to tell the story of, am I still good enough? Can I still do this? What the fuck just happened? Like, who is that guy? Did I get overconfident and think that I was just going to? And he took it for granted, took advantage, and before you know it, he lost the match. I almost think that what we're going to see is like every couple weeks, Jericho has a match against some brand new guy we've never heard of, thinking I'm going to get back on the horse this time. The same thing's going to happen. And then he's going to get kicked out of the Jericho Appreciation Society because they're going to be like, Chris, you haven't won a match in like 6 months.
We don't appreciate you.
We don't appreciate you. Like, you don't appreciate you anymore. So we have to kick you out so that the Jericho Appreciation Society can continue to be what it's supposed to be. And I think then he goes full babyface. And he almost has like that Ric Flair end where it's like, you can keep going until you lose. And if Jericho, because Jericho signed another contract, nobody really knows the extent of it. You know, like he's supposed to be there actually like teaching younger wrestlers how to do everything or whatever for a couple of years. Moxley got the same thing in his deal, whatever. But I think, like, if you even, when you watch that match last night, when he goes to do that sidearm, like after the guy like ducks underneath, he does it so slow that it's like he knows he's lost a step.
Yeah.
So he wants to go out the right way, which is put some young talent over. Like, but in this case, like you said, Orange Cassidy is exactly where he always was. He got a bump while he was with Jericho, but then after that he fell right back down. MJF's the only guy that actually excelled after being in a real program with Jericho.
You don't think Moxley did?
No. Moxley was already a world champion.
I'm trying to think of anybody Jericho's been against.
Kenny didn't.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, like, now, go ahead, take some young guys that AEW actually thinks could be something. I don't even know if Action Andretti's under contract, to be honest with you. Like, but now I could see him being TNT champion next week.
Next week.
Seriously, like
Big Joe.
Like you gotta sit there and push that kid now. Like the fact that he didn't just 1, 2, 3 after a code breaker. Like who is this kid?
Yeah.
Why has he got such resilience?
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, like what Preston and
He's got a perm. That's what it is.
what Preston and Sean were saying is, where's the protected finisher? Right? Like this random jabron is sitting there kicking out of Jericho's second finisher.
I think that might be part of the story.
I agree. And when it comes to Jericho, that's okay. But now every jabron is going to kick out of a secondary finisher. So my point, though, is that I do think that you're going to see Jericho losing matches against people there's no way he should lose matches against. And people are going to make fun of him, so his pay-per-view matches will be against higher quality talent, but he's still going to lose. And I think that it just doesn't matter. Like, he's like, I'm going to go out on a losing streak until I fix my ways, I become the good guy again, the crowd starts cheering me, I start winning matches again. And I almost think that he's the type of person that'll be like, okay, the whole storyline's going to culminate with me winning the world title.
Mm-hmm.
And when I win the world title, the next night, I retire.
Right, yeah.
So that way the belt then gets put into a tournament, blah, blah, blah. Or he sits there and says a tournament to determine the number one contender, and I have to win that match or I have to retire. And then he retires when he loses the match.
Okay.
Like, that's kind of where I think this is going. Like, there's no way a guy like Jericho just ran. Like, he lost to Fandango at WrestleMania, and he hates that moment. So do I really think that he just sits there and goes, yeah, I'm going to take this, like I'm going to sit here and spin around. I'm going to spin a bottle in like the jabroni room, and that's the guy I'm losing to tonight. Like, I don't think that,
No.
like the kid was good. He wasn't great. He was good. But the resiliency and everything else, like, I think that's going to be his thing now, his shtick. So anyways, that's what I think about that match. Main event. What happened?
I thought it was a good match.
It was solid. They're good talents.
I don't appreciate, even if MG, I don't think they should have had the ring and the belt.
We said that last week.
Yeah.
Like, Ricky Starks should have won the match for the ring.
Yeah.
And then lost the match for the belt later. Agreed. Doing it all at once.
And he did the chicken shit heel thing to win. He didn't win fair. Which makes me believe Ricky looked strong in that match, and to get kicked in the balls and to lose, and that's probably going to be his last opportunity.
Yeah. That match, okay, so one of the things I saw online today was that after that match, Ricky Starks and MJF should be in a year-long feud. I don't agree with that either.
Not a year, but they should be in a feud.
I would say that they should continue building towards the February pay-per-view. Because that's their next pay-per-view. And have them have another match at that. Like, somehow have Ricky bullshit his way into winning the diamond ring. Like, oh yeah, you think that your win that week, blah blah blah. Why don't you put that diamond ring back on the line? And then, like, second week of January or something, he wins that, and then at February it's winner take all.
And then he loses the ring again,
and then he loses the ring again because Ricky Starks isn't winning. We've already said that, man.
I think
he's not. MJF is going to get an extended run. They've already started planning his next feud. It's Bryan Danielson. Which, by the way, they should have done him versus Bryan Danielson already, because then he really would have earned his opportunity at the world title.
When he was trying to run from Bryan Danielson, he tried to jump the barricade and the bitch opened. And Bryan just stopped.
Yeah, like magic, I can't get past this. Fuck that.
But that was like he tried to jump it and it just ran open. It just opened on him.
And Bryan Danielson has got to be the one guy in AEW who hasn't earned anything and yet has gotten every single world title match that he's asked for.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he is the best wrestler in the world.
So is he the one who's going to take it from MJF?
No.
Who's going to take it from MJF? When it's finally time for MJF to
Hook. I mean, he can stare down monsters.
I agree with that.
It's probably going to be Wardlow. Actually, to be 100% frank with you, I have no idea because I don't think they know. I literally think they are fly-by-night booking right now. They're like, okay, we're going to book him against this guy. And we're going to do a tournament to determine who's going to be the number one contender. We're going to try to listen to the crowd reaction that night in, like, Manitoba. And we're going to figure it out. But you know that in Manitoba, the guy that's going to get the number one pop is going to be Jericho.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, how do you really determine that at this point? Like, you go to the Performance Center and you do NXT every week. You know exactly who's getting the biggest pops. And it isn't because you're manufacturing the pop. It's because
You hear?
it's the same crowd every week. And that same crowd is going, fuck you guys. We want this guy. You know? And that's when you go, okay, that guy's ready. That guy's ready. The fact that we have tickets to the NXT show in Charlotte, it's going to be the first show outside of the Performance Center in 2 fucking years. It's good.
Let's see Braun.
Maybe not. It'll be February. It'll be probably after he's been in the Royal Rumble and jumped up to Raw or SmackDown. We're going to see
Yeah,
that.
probably we'll see fucking Abel Rain.
Yeah.
Schism. Because we probably won't see Cameron probably be up the main event, main roster by then.
No.
They already said that's why Cameron hadn't been on TV a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah. I guess he could show up in the Royal Rumble.
He's
Yeah.
going to come up. He's going to come up. Braun will probably come up. Mello will probably come up.
Yeah. Although I want to see Mello actually get a run with the belt.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But hey, the good news is that Apollo will still be there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I don't know I don't think they know what they're doing when it comes to the world title in AEW. Like, they know who's got it. Okay, good. Would I like to see a match between Kenny Omega and MJF? Yeah, I would.
But you know, Kenny would book himself winning that match.
As far as I know, there's only one guy that books. Doesn't mean that he doesn't produce the match, which means Kenny would sit there and produce him beating CM Punk all over the place against MJF. But MJF would win that match right now. Like MJF is their future. And they're broadcasting it that way.
Until 2024. The war of 2024.
Whatever. Regardless. You ready to go home?
Yeah, say all your shit, cause
Say all my shit.
all your handles.
So we're on YouTube right here, right now, on YouTube/Rob Potcheck
On the Pots and Pans Network.
on the Pots and Pans Network.
Like, subscribe,
Give one of these. Give as many of these as you can.
buy our shit.
And if you get an opportunity to sit there and reach out to Sean Cruz or Preston, please do. Those guys were awesome. We really appreciate them being on the show. The debut at All Out, and I get to face Jericho in a retirement match. Then, right before just shut up, Chris Barrett. Chris Barrett's trying to say that he gets to face Chris Jericho in a retirement match. Okay. On Twitter, I am at Potcheck. On TikTok, I'm at Rob Potsy Potcheck. On Facebook, I am at Rob Potcheck. On Instagram, I am at Rob Potcheck. I'm also at Rob Potsy Potcheck. And my comic book is at Immortal the Comic and at Junior High Horrors.
Snapchat too, actually.
On Snapchat, I think I'm at Rob Potsy Potcheck. That sounds right?
You got too many. I lost count. I am on Twitter at HootieFan91. I am on the Insta and just SC Tino.
Why are yours all so weird? At least mine are like Rob Potsy, Potsy. Why don't you change them?
No.
Update.
No. So you can check us out here each and every week. Same bat time, same bat channel. We want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song, which is our theme song. You can get that on iTunes for 99 cents. 99.
We will be doing a show on my birthday next week.
Oh, Jesus.
You said that.
I did say that, but
he said he'll be here.
He's going to be so fucking drunk. This show's not going to make sense next week, folks. Just be prepared for that. It's not going to make any kind of sense. He's probably going to piss me off. And I'm probably going to cuss at him regularly. So it will be...
I won't do that.
It'll be PG-14.
I won't do that.
Shit. All right. Anything else?
No, I got to find the song.
I thought that's what you were doing.
I was.
What's the time on there, buddy?
2 hours.
Uh-huh. We're going to let those guys talk 15 minutes. And I told you before we went on, that was bullshit.
Good night, everybody.
You know,